You already know. That's the worst part. Deep down, you already know what's destroying your life. And you're still doing it. Not because you're stupid, not because you want to fail, because the thing ruining your life doesn't feel dangerous while it's happening. That's why it survives. People think destructive behavior looks dramatic. It usually doesn't. Most life-destroying habits feel normal, comfortable, even deserved. That's what makes them dangerous. You don't wake up one day and decide, I'm going to ruin my future. You just keep escaping things that make you uncomfortable. That's it. You delay one decision. You distract yourself one more night. Avoid one more conversation. Numb yourself one more time. And none of it feels serious enough to matter. But repetition turns small behavior into identity. That's the mechanism people usually notice too late. You become what you repeatedly avoid. Avoid difficult conversations long enough, you become passive. Avoid risk long enough, you become fearful. Avoid reality long enough, you become disconnected from your own life. That's how people slowly disappear psychologically. Not through catastrophe, through unconscious repetition. And modern life makes this unbelievably easy. Your phone can remove silence instantly. Your habits can remove reflection instantly. Your entertainment can remove discomfort instantly. You never have to sit with yourself anymore. And most people now live like that every day. Because silence used to expose people to reality, now people can escape their own thoughts from morning to night. And eventually they stop noticing they're doing it. That's why years disappear so fast now. People aren't processing their lives anymore. They interrupt them constantly. The moment discomfort appears, they reach for stimulation. Phone, video, music, food, scrolling, noise. Anything to avoid sitting still long enough to feel something clearly. And the brain learns this pattern fast. And eventually you lose the ability to face your own life directly. That's when people start saying things like, I don't feel like myself anymore. Of course not. You spent years escaping yourself. And here's the dangerous part. The behavior works. That's why people keep doing it. Distraction really does reduce discomfort temporarily. Avoidance really does calm anxiety temporarily. Escaping really does make things feel easier temporarily. But temporary relief creates permanent consequences. Because while you're escaping discomfort, your actual life stays untouched. The conversation still needs to happen. The work still needs to be done. The problems still exist. The future is still forming. That's the part most people avoid admitting. Your future doesn't pause while you avoid it. It keeps building anyway. Every repeated behavior is shaping something. Even when you think, I'm just wasting one night. No. You're reinforcing a pattern. And patterns become automatic frighteningly fast. That's why people wake up years later, shocked by their own lives. Not because change happened suddenly, because repetition happened quietly. Repeated distraction, repeated avoidance, repeated escape, repeated emotional comfort. And eventually those repetitions became your default way of living. Your life is not destroyed by one huge decision. It is shaped by what you repeatedly return to under pressure. That's the real you, not your goals, not your intentions, not the version of yourself you imagine becoming someday. What you repeatedly return under pressure slowly becomes who you are. And if you keep repeating the same escape patterns, your future becomes predictable. Because most people think they still have time to eventually change. But repetition hardens. What you repeat today becomes easier tomorrow. And eventually it stops feeling like a choice. It starts feeling like who you are. That's why people stay trapped for decades. Not because they can't change, because they practice being the same person for too long. So if you really want to know what's ruining your life, don't look at the big dramatic moment. Look at the behavior you keep returning to when discomfort appears. Because that's the thing shaping your future. And deep down, you already knew that.